What is a nation?
Apa itu bangsa?
The attempt to formally define the nation as a political concept dates back to 1882 when French philosopher and historian Ernest Renard published his seminal essay titled, What is a Nation? In this essay, Renard defines the nation as a large-scale solidarity constituted by the feeling of sacrifices that one made in the past and of those that one is separated to make in the future. This explains why Renard believes that if we are to imagine the nation as good and worthy of continuous sacrifice, we must realize that it necessarily entails a process of forgetting. This is because, for Renard, the efforts to obtain national unity, either in the name of civic or ethnic nationalism, involve acts of violence and subsequent forgetting. Based on the initial conception of a nation developed by Renard, scholars have come up with a more formal definition of a nation, namely, a community of people formed on the basis of a combination of shared features such as language, history, ethnicity, culture, and territory. Put differently, a nation is the collective identity of a group of people understood as defined by language, history, ethnicity, culture, and territory. And for this reason, a nation is generally more overtly political than an ethnic group. In fact, many scholars considered it as a fully mobilized or institutionalized ethnic group. Later on, the famous political scientist, Benedict Anderson, views the nation as an imagined community. For Anderson, the nation is an imagined political community that is culturally imagined as both inherently limited and sovereign. As we can see, there are four key elements in this definition. First, the nation is imagined simply because members of any particular nation will never meet most of their fellow members, yet in the minds of each lives the image of their communion. Second, the nation is imagined as limited because it has finite, yet sometimes elastic, boundaries, beyond which other nations lie. Third, the nation is imagined as sovereign because the concept of the nation itself was born in an age when the Enlightenment and Revolution were destroying the legitimacy of the divinely ordained, hierarchical dynastic realm. Finally, the nation is imagined as a community because, regardless of the actual inequality and exploitation that may prevail within each, the nation is conceived as a deep, horizontal comradeship.
Syntax is a law of language that determines the word order and basic sentence structure within the different languages. Each language has a specific syntax that tells the speaker and the listener which parts of the sentence come first to help them make sense of what's being said. It's the guidelines we use when speaking and writing so that sentences are understandable and coherent. Be wary of confusing syntax or semantics with diction. These form the backbone of sentence construction, so let's break these definitions down. Syntax, as just mentioned, is the order of the words in a sentence. Diction is the specific word choice meant to express certain meanings. Semantics is the meaning conveyed by the particular words used. We'll be focusing on syntax in this video. In the English language, there's a word order that is set in stone for most types of sentences. Of course, there are always exceptions, but most of the time, standard English sentences will follow an SVO word order. Subject, verb, object. As in, the boy looks outside of the window. In this example sentence, we have the subject, boy, the verb, looks, and the object, outside. This image is an image of an English grammar syntax tree used by linguists to plot the structure of sentences. You may not often encounter a syntax tree, but knowing how to draw one is rather useful and will help you understand sentence structure. In the chart, you can see that the sentence is broken down into its parts: verbs, nouns, articles, and prepositions. After this step, the words are grouped together to determine which parts of the sentence are noun phrases, prepositional phrases, or verb phrases. Fun fact, SVO is not the only word order structure. Other languages vary word order and even include additional components in their syntax. In the example given with the syntax tree, the subject is.
For almost a decade, scientists chased the source of a deadly new virus through China's tallest mountains and most isolated caverns. They finally found it here, in the bats of Shitao Cave. The virus in question was a coronavirus that caused an epidemic of severe acute respiratory syndrome, or SARS, in 2003. Coronaviruses are a group of viruses covered in little protein spikes that look like a crown, or corona in Latin. There are hundreds of known coronaviruses. 7 of them infect humans and can cause disease. The coronavirus SARS-CoV causes SARS, MERS-CoV causes MERS, and SARS-CoV-2 causes the disease COVID-19. Of the 7 human coronaviruses, 4 cause colds, mild, highly contagious infections of the nose and throat. 2 infect the lungs and cause much more severe illnesses. The 7th, which causes COVID-19, has features of each. It spreads easily, but can severely impact the lungs. When an infected person coughs, droplets containing the virus spray out. The virus can infect a new person when the droplets enter their nose or mouth. Coronaviruses transmit best in enclosed spaces, where people are close together. Cold weather keeps their delicate casing from drying out, enabling the virus to survive for longer between hosts, while UV exposure from sunlight may damage it. These seasonal variations matter more for established viruses, but because no one is yet immune to a new virus, it has so many potential hosts that it doesn't need ideal conditions to spread. In the body, the protein